Right, so I've dried everything off and it's in real life, this is looking great. The next stage is putting the white on. Let's refer back to our picture. The hinges are white, this grille is white, but behind the grille it's very, very dark. Um, I am going to be putting black on this picture, as you know, these lines are going to be black. So I think I can get away with making that black. Um, So that probably needs to be the first thing that we do, is black that in, then put all the white on, then put the black lines in, and then some of these lines. If you look really closely, you'll see that every single plank there's a little bit of a line. I don't want to do that. I want to do more of what I did with mine, just the occasional line. Not all of them. I think that wouldn't look very nice. So black first, just for in here. Just move my brushes. Here we are. Let's go to their angle shader. So I'm just going to literally paint that in black. It's very, very dark. So as I say, I think we can get away with black. Don't know if you've heard me have talked about these before, but I'm not sure, obviously whether you've watched the video that was talking about them. There's a thing called Posca pens, and they are pens with a nib, not a fountain pen, like a felt tip pen, but they are filled with acrylic paint. So they are acrylic paint. Use them with impunity on your work, really, if you want to. And they're very, very handy for for drawing fine lines, getting into little spaces that you would find it difficult with a brush, and also for signing your name. They're brilliant for that, because signing your name sometimes can be a bit of a trauma, especially if you've got a long name. I just sign my initials, FMS. But I do actually use a Posca for it, because it's a guaranteed nice fine line. So I'll just introduce those to you in case you haven't seen them before. They come in lots of different nib widths. These ones here, that I've got a set of these, full set of this size, and they are 0.7 of a mil. You need to shape them up, get that little ball rattling around in there, and then you can just use them for whatever. I'm going to use them to draw the lines on the doors, but if you don't feel ultra confident with a brush putting these hinges in, then use a Posca pen. I also have this one with a wider nib. It says it's 0.9 to 1.3. I don't know, maybe if you press hard it goes wider, I don't know. This is the one I use to sign my paintings. It's the one I use to put the number on the door here. I didn't put my grill marks on with a Posca pen because I wanted them to look slightly wonky. I didn't want them to be exact. But I'm just throwing that out there as an alternative to something that you might want to do if you're not feeling overly confident of putting very fine marks down. It's quite a good idea. But having said all that, I'm going to paint mine in, because I kind of like painting details. I'm weird like that. So you need a small liner brush, which I'm looking for. I'll use this one. I don't think I'm familiar with it, but how wrong can you go? And introduce some water. Mr. Pixit's laughing at the prospect of how wrong can you go. As you can go pretty wrong. You need to introduce, if you're using a heavy body paint, you need to introduce quite a lot of water into it to get it sort of inky. not quite ink, but thin. Um, or you can use a fluid acrylic, go and do a fluid acrylic, which is perfect for the job. Well, there's also this high flow acrylic, which is of a consistency of water, and if you're not used to it, it's quite difficult to handle. So I'm just gonna, I think, unless this is just going to go too sticky on me, I'm just going to use the heavy body watered down, and put my hinges in with that. Got hair on my picture. This might need 2 coats because we're going over some blue. And I think they're painting it quite nicely. Blue and white are smart colours together, I think. Bring out the best in each other. Yes, I do know white is not a colour. But for our purposes, you know, it's near enough. I think that's covering really well. This is this Sennelier Abstract White, and it really is a good white. You know, it's one of the cheaper brands on the market, the Sennelier Abstract, and I've used it now for months, and I'm quite taken with it. I really quite like it. I really like it, not quite. I do really like it. Sennelier are an old company, really. They've been making artist stuff for well over 100 years, I think. So I reckon they've probably got it right. And furthermore, I reckon that they don't put out rubbish. There's some black that goes into the top of here as well. It's because it's quite dark. I think this must be recessed. Well, there's shadow there somewhere anyway. We're getting a shadow from somewhere. If you don't load your brush, as I do, you'll be in and out of that white paint all the time. I'll just show you in a moment how to load it properly, so as you can actually, like me, carry on painting for quite some time. And this is just a teeny tiny brush. So what you do is you add your water, pick up some water on your brush, come and add it to your paint, mix it up, and then roll your brush in that puddle that you've just made. Keep rolling, and then lift it up ever so gently till you're about a 45-degree, and just keep rolling and take it away. And you'll have a nice point on the end, and the bristles will be loaded with paint, and it'll save you having to keep going backwards and forwards to the puddle to get more and more paint. I'll leave that to settle and see if it needs another coat. It very well might. I won't be surprised or upset in any way if that's the case. I hope you're enjoying painting along or just watching. I do a lot of just watching YouTube videos. It's like, why do I need a television, really? Just seem to spend so much time on YouTube. There can't be too many subjects that haven't been covered by YouTube videos. You know, no matter what you've got or what you need to know, it's kind of somewhere on YouTube.
Quite an awful lot of stuff you don't need to know.
An awful lot of stuff that you really don't need to know, I would suggest. Actually, all the searches that I've ever done on YouTube, which is kind of, you know, a lot daily, I've never come up with anything risque, naughty, rude at all. So I think when these people say, oh, it just popped up, I don't think they're telling the truth. It's going to have to add a little bit more water to that. My puddle has dried up. I've used all the paint actually rather more than it drying up. Yeah, I think 2 coats is going to be what's required. Okay, so that's that in. It's looking nice, looking nice. Now I'm going to dry that and I'm going to come straight back in and do another coat of white. I'm going to do around the grill first. And that'll be all the white done. We'll dry it, come back and reinforce it. So I'm just going to go halfway over the black and halfway over into the blue. It must be about there somewhere, I think. And I'm pushing the brush down so I get the widest stroke that this brush can give me. I could always use a wider brush, of course, but I think that's fine. If I really wanted to, I could use a Posca pen for that, and also for the grill that's over it. But I purposely on mine didn't use a Posca pen because I wanted it to look slightly old, and particularly now we've distressed these doors somewhat. I definitely want it to look old. So I personally won't be using a Posca pen for the lines. Nothing stopping you doing so if you want to. So I'm just going to pause there a minute, dry all of this white. Oh, just found a bit that I haven't done. Sorry guys, nearly. I haven't done this bit down here. So if I don't do it now, I'll have to come back later and do two more coats. So I want to get it done. So I hope you're all enjoying this. It's not a difficult one, I don't think. A lot of process driven. Okay, I'm going to pause there, dry that, and then rejoin you. Okay, so I've literally just dried that, nothing else. I did actually bring my brush over here, but it was still wet, so I've still got a bit of a puddle going. I probably need a little bit more. Need some colour in it, otherwise you're just painting water, which we have already done today. I really hope you're enjoying this. There's just nothing stressful about it, so particularly now that we've learnt to paint with water. I mean, come on. From here, once we've done the white again, we'll do the black lines, and then we'll do the lines on the door, and that'll be it then, apart from the flowers. So when I get to that stage, I'm going to stop for the day. You might have split this into shorter segments, or you might be going for the burn. Good luck. Actually, the flowers don't take that long. Flowers are probably the quickest of all of it. Actually, if you get into a good painting mood and you're just enjoying it, it's kind of hard to stop, really. You just want to go on. Flies. Such horrible things. But I'm sure they're very necessary. And because we've made this door so kind of distressed, then the hinges don't have to be quite so bang on. Not suggesting that you do them rubbish. That's not what we're about. It's not a very good line. Just when that dries. So I don't want to drag the wet onto it. But as soon as it's dried, it's ready to get grilled up. Grilled up? Sounds like a barbecue. Barbecue's nice. Mind you, what we're having for dinner tonight is nice. We are having, if you're a vegetarian or a vegan, cover your ears. We are having pheasant breast and black pudding pie, which we have made ourselves from scratch. And the pie filling, which we've already made, looks delicious. Doesn't it, Mr. Fix-It?
Yum, yum.
I know, yum, yum. I'm hungry, actually. Are you?
I am now.
So there you go. It doesn't take 5 minutes to put that white in again. Well, it probably does. Probably takes about 10 minutes. I don't know. Sort of lose track of time when you're painting, really. That's why we've got the pie filling made before we started to paint. Have I done that? No. Have I done that one? No. That one? No. So I'm dying to see what how you get on with this, or if you've got any problems with it or whatever. If you are encountering problems, contact me. I will do my best to help you in any way I can, to suggest what you may need to do or what the painting needs you to do more than anything. So just message me on the Miss Paintalot, Miss Acrylic Paintalot's group on Facebook. I'm fairly accessible. I answer messages fairly quickly. So kind of even if you're in the middle of painting and something's gone a bit wrong, just message me. So I think there's sort of white circles each side here. A little black bit in the middle.
Of course, if you're not in the UK, then there may be some time difference.
Well, obviously if I'm in bed, but to be honest, I don't spend a great amount of time in bed. So, yeah, I mean, you may have to wait a couple of hours or so while I sleep. So I didn't put on as many bits of grill as the reference. I just put 2 down and 2 across. Up to you what you want to do. And they start above and they finish below. And then I'm just going to put 2 across. Ooh, that's a wonky one. Not that I mind in the slightest. That's why I'm not putting them on with Posca. So there we are, that's the grill done. Now I need to do the black. So I just need to refer to the reference picture because I can't actually remember where it all goes. Right, so I'm going to use this very fine brush again. So I need to make my inky solution up with the black. I don't know if it's my eyes, but that black looks incredibly brown. That black look brown to you?
No.
No, okay. It's my eyes. So there's a bit here that is kind of like the top of the, I don't know, it's just a bit sort of rotted in there. And then it comes down from there through that mark in the hinge. Through that mark in the hinge. Oops. Wipe that out. I'm just going to take that out because it's just not, it's not thick enough either. Right, okay. Black line mark 2. Lovely. And just kind of go down to the ground from there. And we have a similar sort of thing going on here. As Mr. Fixit says, if you're not confident or you feel you want to, use a ruler. I like tasking myself with things, so that's why I'm doing it. I haven't got enough paint on my brush. Fair enough. So now we need some black around the bottom because there's a shadow and it's rotten I'm going to use a different brush because that one's doesn't hold enough paint for this next part of the procedure. So sort of a line comes along there, which is the bottom of the door. It's a shadow down onto the pavement. And there's just sort of random bits of blackness. They're not all the same height, so don't make them all the same height. And I'm going to have to come back and put another coat of this in. There's quite a shadow there actually. So there are some it's quite rotted at the bottom, this door. It's got quite a rotty body. This is not golden paint that I'm using. It's not Sennelier Abstract, and it really doesn't want to cover anything. Okay, so there we are. That's good. I'm pleased with that. Right, so now on the top, there's a black shadow between the white and blue, and then just at the top of the blue. So just between the white and the blue, yeah. It doesn't want to cover anything unless you make a mistake, and then it wants to cover it. So that's just going to define this a little bit more. Look a little bit more finished. And then just at the top of the blue as well as a black shadow. It does go all the way to there. Okay. Line slightly there. I'm going to have to take that bit out. It's just it's too wrong. I can't fudge it. That's fine. Okay, so over to the window. What have we got here? Similar sort of thing, black line down where the hinges are, and then up into the top. So where does it start? Does it start coming out of that hinge? Okay. Too much water. And then just around the blue bit on the top. It's actually quite dark. I think there might be a tiniest hint of a shadow under this white, just a tiniest hint. Like that. Yeah, there's no shadow anywhere else on there. So, right, okay. What we need to do now is make sure everything's tidy. What we need to do now is put the rivets in the hinges or screws or whatever they are. Finish these dots off. That's pretty much it, really. On the reference here. Yeah. What have I just said to you? Yeah, on the reference picture, the bolts, screw things on the hinges is white. If you want to do that, that's fine. What you would need to do is mix up a grey and literally just paint the shadow in. Don't put, you won't be able to paint white on white, it'll just come out white. So what you need to do is paint the shadow in grey. But I'm actually going to jazz it up and use black for my screw heads. I can't believe that they would be that colour, because who in their right mind would go around after they've painted the door with black? But some people do. Some people that have got like boats that go on canals, they like doing things like that, don't they?
Yeah.
I'm not saying there's anything against it. There's nothing wrong with it at all. It's just I'm painting mine in black. That's all I'm saying. So I'm also going to put them in here. So they kind of need to be equal, really. And I want one at the top, which is there. And then maybe two coming round. Don't think they're particularly equal, but fine, grand and dandy. So these have got two little things on, screw things on, holding them to that door post. And then the hinges I've put two here, and then one in the middle and one at the end. See, it's jazzing up already. We've painted ourselves a nice painting today. I can't see any on this, but it's obviously not held on, it's not levitating there. I don't think so anyway. So that's us finished with that. Move on to the window. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. A little titchy drop of black in the middle of them. Then there's just the ones on the arch. So one there, one there, one right at the top, and then one about there, one about there. Over here and okie dokie. It's beginning to look quite nice, actually, I think. Right, so next in line is, well, I need the number for the door, which the actual picture doesn't have, but I've put my birth date on it. So you can put whatever number you like on it. I've lost my, did I put my Posca pens away? That was a bit, oh no, they're here. So just join me in a minute. I'm just really going to make sure this is dry. Actually, I'll put the number on first and then dry everything. The Posca's dry the same sort of rate as ordinary acrylic like this dries, except it's quite thin when you put it on, so it doesn't take. Now, if you've made a mistake, get it off quick, is what I would say to you. But it's rattling well, so we should be okay. I'm just going to test it out on this bit of, oh yes, look at that. Right, so here goes for the number. There we are, still number 24. They haven't moved out. So if you'd done that wrong, now is the time to get in with the water and get it off, because once it dries like acrylic, and you know, it's there for life. So let's just take a pause at that stage. Just going to make sure everything, including the Posca and everything, is dry before we go on to the next stage. Right, I've dried everything, and there's just a couple of little things that were jarring, not quite right. I've put the faintest of lines at the top of this bar that comes up here, just to say it's separate from this hoop over the top, which it obviously has to be. You know, when you open the windows, you're not going to take that hoop with you. And I've put a line across here just to say it opens, you know, it's just not all joined together. So looking again, just to make sure I've got everything in, the only thing that I think is a little bit suspect is there's black down here, because I haven't brought the rendering right up to the door jamb frame, whatever it is. So I think we have to pay some respect to that. So I'm going to put that in, thicken this line because it's good solid line, that, and then we'll put the flanks on the doors. I need to mix up some black because my existing puddle had gone. Actually, this paint's staying much better than I thought it would. So I'm just going to thicken this line up. Because it is quite a thick line. So yeah, that's a bit better. Pleased with that. Right, so now we just need to do something with this edge. Which is really something instead of nothing, but it does set it apart. So even if all you want to do is just put a line down it, that would be fine. I'm just trying to make it look like it's the rendering stop just short of the door frame. and it's dark in there because it's got no light. It might even be a bit mucky. And it is actually very black. So I think I'm going to have to put another coat on that. That's fine, but it needs to be really black. So just I'm sorry, but just bear with me 1 second. Sorry about that. Just might as well get it finished and then it's done. Yeah, I think that's much better. Yeah, that's fine. Actually, now this door is dried, it's looking quite nice on the monitor as well. I was trying to tell you it was nice. Right, so now is the time to get your Poscas out and a ruler. So I want a black fine one and a white fine one. Actually, in the set that you get lots of really useful colours, and you get a silver and a gold, which I haven't used yet. I'm saving them for a special occasion. Perhaps I ought to use those to sign my name on my paintings. So I'm going to give these a good shake up.
Nice action.
Thanks. I reckon they're done. So, simply because it's easier, I'm going to tip it on the side, and I'm going to have to take that as being my straight up and down, I think. Can we just pause there a moment while I think about this, please? Right, the reason that I wanted to pause there was because on my painting, I actually used black and white, and it's fine, but just a little bit stark. And I wondered if I used a light blue and a dark blue, if I'd actually get a more pleasing result. You know, not quite so stark. I want to be able to see the colours, don't get me wrong. I'm not putting them in so I can't see them. I want to see them. But I'm just going to try this light and dark blue first. And if it doesn't show up or I'm not happy with it, well, we've got the white and black that we can use. But that was my reason for pausing at that stage. Right, I've got my T-square out. It's a kind of big boy. He's, I don't know, what is he? 25 and a bit inches. So he's kind of 2 foot odd long. But if you're doing bigger canvases, these are great. You put the T part at right angles to where you want to draw your lines, and that's it.
Straight on that door, isn't it?
This I've just checked, and this line here is straight. I'm not saying any others are straight. I'm not saying they're not. It'll be something like anyway. So let's just see what this darker blue has to say. Just make sure it's working first. You have to just depress the end of it in a couple of times just to get it to flow first off. It's a brand new pen. I've just taken the plastic off it, so it's just considering its options, let's say, at the moment. Just pass it back. It does work eventually. Well, then I'll go in with a light blue. That's working perfect. Is that working now? So I'm not going to go, I'm going to use the ruler as my guide, but I'm not going to draw the full plank in. I'll leave a little gap. So yeah, that shows up really nicely. I like that. I like it. So on my other one, I just used them, a bit of this and a bit of that, really. Yeah, that's the light blue, and I'm glad I'm using that, not the white. I think the white would have been really too stark. So I'm not really leaving any set distance between them. Some are nearer, some not so much. So this is right down the edge of our grill. That's nice. I like that sort of spacing. And we could keep it easy by using those, but we'll just put one in the middle. I'll move back to my dark one again. I'm not going to put it up through the number. Yeah, this is fine. Looking good. I could put one in there, squeeze it in there, I think. This is entirely up to you, which colours you use, if you use them at all, and where you put them. I'm gonna... Yeah, and some I used both, but I didn't really like that, so I left it out. I'm going to use this one again. So I want them to be random, really. Random's a hard thing to achieve, to be honest. And I'm not going to do that top bit because it'll just look too ordered. So I'm going to leave another space that looks sort of similar to me. Use the dark one. Bring that one right up. Yeah, it's looking all right. So there's the end, so I want to be about there. And which colour shall I go for? I might go for light. Yeah, okay, I think let's have a look at that, see what it looks like. Yeah, I don't want any more than that on for sure. That's enough. Yeah, okay. So now we'll move on to the window. Same sort of arrangement with your T-square. I'll start here. Now, I think I put these slightly closer together actually. But as I say, we want them to look fairly random. So feel free to put them where you want. I think I'll put that one just there. Okay. Another light one in there. Chop the end of that one off, never mind. And a couple of dark ones to finish with, I think. Staying off the edge. down with this one. There we are. That's the planks painted in. Poscas are the way forward. They really are so useful. And it's acrylic paint. You know, at the end of the day, there's nothing on there that isn't acrylic paint. So I think that's a sensible time to leave. The only thing that we've got to put in now are the flowers. That is literally all that is needed, and they go in really, really quickly. But I'm going to pause there, go and eat my pheasant pie, and I'll catch up with you very soon.